Right, ladies and gentlemen, here we are. It is another Friday, so it's time for the Heat Check live beat review show right here on YouTube. Currently multi streaming to TikTok right now. Excuse me, Twitch right now. So shout out to everyone on YouTube and Twitch and whatever other social media platform I can get this thing to work with. I'm gonna be able to get it to work with, but we're doing our thing. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Heat Check Live Beat Review Show. If you don't know, if this is your first time here, you don't know who I am. Well, my name is Desmond A. I'm a music producer. Been producing music for over 12 years here now. Do producing, engineering, have worked with local artists as far as recording local artists, produced for local artists, sold beats online, have music on different television shows, e-television, Sci-Fi Channel, different documentaries all over the place. So I've seen a little bit of everything, and that helps to inform me on how I can give you guys advice in helping you grow as a music producer. So that's who I am. If you don't know who I am, is this your first time checking out the Heat Check? That's exactly what is going on. Now, the format. If you don't know how the Heat Check goes, what happens is you go ahead and submit your beats as soon as this stream closes. That's going to go ahead and submit your beats for next Friday's show. And the free submissions closes Friday at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's right, 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. That's when the free submissions close. After that, you can go ahead and do a paid VIP skip the line. So you're going to see that up here. Free submission close. Get VIP skip the line. Go ahead and pay your $10. I'll go ahead and play your beat. And that's how you can get it in if you don't get the free submission window. So that's how we go ahead and do that. And just to let you know, for free submissions, we play about 1.5 minutes of your beat. Then I give my feedback. If you do the VIP skip the line, we go ahead and play the whole thing because you're, of course, investing your money. And then I'm going to check out the whole beat. And if you're a recording artist, if you do the VIP skip the line, I'll go ahead and play your song. Typically don't do that. I'm still working out how I can help recording artists. This is a producer show, but if you do the VIP skip the line and you're a recording artist, I will go ahead and review your music on this show. So hopefully that is clear for everyone. Now, even more ground rules on how this goes. Here at the Heat Check, we don't roast, we don't snap. This is not a place for jonesing. This is a place for improvement. This is like a dojo. You ever been to a dojo? You ever been to a boxing ring? You ever been to a Muay Thai class? When you're there, your sensei doesn't say, man, that's whack, or that's a terrible punch, or that's a terrible knee strike. No, they say throw your hip into the knee strike a little bit more. Put your weight behind that jab a little bit more. They give you constructive criticism on how you can improve yourself. And that's the same thing that we do here on the Heat Check. We give constructive tips. We're going to give it to you straight. We're not going to sugarcoat it, but it's going to be constructive tips to help you out. So hopefully that makes sense. If you're rocking with that, continue to check out the Heat Check. Also, special announcement. If you guys haven't seen in my community tab, the Made in the Studio podcast is returning. We have a lot of great guests coming up, man. Got some fire interviews already locked in, some already recorded, some in the pipeline that I'm going to get done and edited nice and neat for you guys to listen to. Make sure everything is smooth and balanced so you can listen to the Fly podcast with great audio quality, not just rushing stuff out. I want to make sure it's nice and precise and nice and pristine for you guys to really listen to and get that good game. So Made in Studio podcast is returning March 5th, which is the first Thursday of March. That's when the first episode of the new season starts. So if you haven't checked it out, my other episodes, make sure you check out the podcast tab. You can see I have episodes of Grammy-nominated producers, multi-platinum producers, loop makers, sound designers. They do just about everything, so you can get that good game there in the previous episodes while you wait for the new season to drop. And it is going to be hot, hot, hot fire. So guys, make sure you get ready for the new episode of Made in the Studio podcast. My eyes are a little red, man. I've been grinding it out, but it's all worth it for you guys. Also, going to be dropping a new loop pack next month as well for you guys. Work with some session musicians to get that done. Going to have a new loop pack next month. tentatively next month. Should be there next month, but I just wanted to drop that on you guys, give you guys some fresh sounds and some good music. All right, all right. So yeah, went ahead and took care of all of that, so you guys know what's happening around here on the Desmond A Sounds YouTube for you guys. So I want to get that all out the way. So let's go ahead and get to what you all came here for, which is the live beat review. It is called the Heat Check Live Beat Review, right? It's not the Heat Check announcement show. So you want to get your beats reviewed. Before I get into that, guys, also DesmondASounds.com. Get free loops, free guides, free FL Studio patcher plugins to help elevate your sounds. A whole bunch of free stuff. DesmondASounds.com. Make sure you go there and check that out to help elevate your sound as a producer. All right, so getting started here from the very tippy top, we have Millie Beats with Shoreline Mafia. So I'm gonna play this beat, mute my mic, and then go ahead and give my feedback. So let's go ahead and take a listen.
God damn, Millie, you bad.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Millie Beats with Shoreline Mafia. Shout out to you, Millie Beats, and thank you so much for submitting your beat this week. Now, Millie Beats, definitely still hearing the improvements. You know, musically, you still have everything locked in, melodically, key-wise, everything like that is still tight. One thing I was hearing in that particular beat is that high string that you have, you know, that's that same string sound that we hear in a lot of drill music. That one, it didn't quite fit well with that beat. I felt like that sound selection was a tad bit off. I would like you to just swap that sound out. I would start by just experimenting with different sounds in your sound library. And I'm thinking you could maybe even just use like a high cello instead. So if you just have a high cello sound, you could replace it there. That one was a bit more, had kind of like a, you know, had like a that, like I said, that drill string character. So just swap that out with something different. I think that's gonna fit the overall texture of the beat a lot better. Also, you had like a little stutter that was pretty cool. I want to make sure that's on beat. I almost felt like I wanted it to do it one more time. You see what I'm saying? Because he did it twice, and that might throw the recording artist off. If they maybe could work with it, but I would say better safe than sorry. Either take out that stutter or do it 3 times. You know? So, yes, that will make things just flow better and groove better. Yeah, overall, you know, definitely a good beat, man. I could definitely hear a recording artist rapping down that, and a lot of your beats I always hear like YG rapping on your stuff. But yeah, keep it up, Millie Beats. That was Shoreline Mafia by Millie Beats. All right, moving forward, we have Detroit by Millie Beats. Millie Beats' second submission of the night. This one's called Detroit. I'm gonna go ahead and play this beat, mute my mic, and then give my feedback. So let's go ahead and take a listen.
God damn, Millie, you bad.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Millie Beats with Detroit. All right, shout out to you, Millie Beats, and thank you for submitting that this week. Now, Millie Beats, for that particular beat, that one, I definitely appreciate you stepping out of your wheelhouse, stepping outside of your comfort zone and trying something different. You can always learn a lot of things by, just experimenting with different sounds. And you named that one Detroit, so, I'm presuming that you're going for that, Detroit sound, things like that. So, I wasn't really getting Detroit from there. I did hear a couple of those Detroit sounds in some of the Detroit productions. It's like I'm hearing a better version of that beat in my head. It's like I know where you're trying to get to, but it's like we didn't quite hit the mark. Like, for one, the piano, there's a certain part with the piano felt like it was clashing with other elements, particularly that low piano that you have in the beat. And then we went from the sample into the beat dropping. It didn't really add anything. It was cool. I enjoyed the sample at the beginning, but that transition from the sample to the beat didn't like hype me up. I wasn't excited that was actually there. It was just kind of there. So I would say, if you're going to experiment with the Detroit sound, take a listen and really critically listen to the Detroit production. What kind of sounds are they using? How are things panned? How are things separated? How clean are those low pianos when they use them? So I feel like, of course, you're more seasoned in the West Coast production, and when I heard this, I'm just hearing too many of the elements just off. So let's listen to more Detroit beats, listen closely, and then from there, just keep practicing, and then you'll be able to eventually get to the point where you can consistently make quality Detroit beats like you can make quality West Coast beats. So shout out to you, Millie Beats. Thank you so much for your submission. Please continue to submit right here on the Heat Check. All right. Moving forward, we have Junior Made It with Slade. All right. I'm going to go ahead and play this beat, mute my mic, and then go ahead and give my feedback. All right, so let's go ahead and take a listen. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Junior Made It with Slade. All right, shout out to you, Junior Made It. Thank you so much for your submission. We appreciate you for submitting right here on the Heat Check. Now, Junior Made It. That beat. This is my first impression of that beat. I heard what you were doing, but I didn't feel what you were doing. It's like I know the direction that you were going into musically. I can understand that direction, but I felt like we miss hitting the bullseye, and it didn't hit here. It didn't move me, and it had a lot of good elements, but it didn't quite hit that bullseye the way that it should have. One thing is the melody I was hearing. I didn't really quite hear dissonance like that. I didn't hear the notes clashing or anything like that, but something about it felt a little off. It could have been something could be slightly detuned, maybe something with the pitch of that main arpy kind of sound could have been in the way, but something about it was slightly off, and I can't quite put my finger on it. That main sound was slightly off, and it also added to the lack of feel I was able to get from that beat. I couldn't get moved by the beat at all. So the beat did have some solid 808s, but I just feel like dig a bit deeper, like pull out more emotion. It just didn't hit. Yeah, that's true. L Cool J in the chat. That's cool. That's true too. That what's up? Yeah, that was catchy. It was catchy. So speaking on that, L Cool J, this once again, it's just like I'm hearing an improved version of this in my head somewhere. So you don't have to totally throw this beat away. Just go back into your DAW, listen to this beat again, listen to the elements, and think, okay, how can I feel this more? Do I need to mess with the pitch knob a little bit? Do I need to add some filters to it? How can it just hit here? How can it hit that bullseye? Like, I gotta hear this beat. So, just tweak that a little bit. Even try reaching out to a co-producer and seeing if a co-producer can add something to it, add some extra flair to it to really set it off. And I think you'll be good to go. Also, another thing I was hearing in that beat was the mix. Some of the elements weren't quite audible. It kind of got a little mushy due to the fact that I didn't quite hear separation. So here's a good mixing tip is listen to your sounds at a low volume, then listen to your sounds at a medium volume, then listen to the sounds at a loud volume. So listen to your beat, low, medium, then loud. Then in that process, if you can't quite hear things, if you feel like things aren't quite clear, you might have to do a little bit of, it's typically like panning, typically doing a little bit of tweaking with the EQ, and that's going to help give you some separation so all the elements can be heard in a beat, even though the beat had a main sound that was pretty busy. All right, so yeah, L Cool J in the chat. L Cool J in the chat is feeling that beat, wants to check it out again. So yeah, man, it definitely has potential. So it's definitely not a throwaway. So let me say that. All right, moving forward, looks like we got another beat here by Junior Made It. This one is called Wake Up. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and play this beat, mute my mic, and then go ahead and give my feedback. So let's take a listen. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Junior Made It with Wake Up. Shout out to you, Junior Made It, and thank you so much for submitting right here on the Heat Check. All right. Now, Junior, for that beat, the melody was definitely off. Like I didn't quite know what direction you were going in melodically. It was just kind of there. Like I couldn't sing to it. I couldn't rap to it. I didn't quite know what emotion was supposed to be evoked from hearing that. It just I didn't quite hear anything there. On top of that, the beat didn't really have any structure. It was just one big, repetitive thing. It's almost like watching a movie where the scene doesn't really change. There's no ups, there's no downs, there's no tension, there's no climax, there's no mystery. The whole thing was just one thing. So this is what I would definitely want you to do, Junior. Whenever you're making beats, just and you let's just say you hit like a point where you feel like okay, you're in the middle, you've caught a decent vibe. Go back and really listen to the music and sing to it and rap to it and see if you feel anything. And as you sing to it, as you rap to it, whatever ideal artist you want to get on it, you may even make adjustments to the beat melodically. Okay, if I want, let's say, if I want Playboy Cardi on a beat like this, what would I change? Then you could start to mimic Playboy Cardi, and then you could hear, okay, I should probably space this out a little bit. I should probably do this with the melody. I should probably do that with the melody. And that can help to inform how you can format and structure your beats musically in a way that is where more so has a home and more so has a direction. So that's what I'm hearing. It's just like almost like a lack of direction. And I think that could definitely be improved by finding inspirations, what producers really inspire you, and really studying their music critically. Also singing and rapping over your beats, and also, practicing a little bit of music theory. Maybe there's a couple of popular songs out there that you really like. It doesn't hurt to, pick up a keyboard, mess around, start to learn melody, start to learn chord structure, and that's going to help you out, especially in the long run. So, yes. All right, in the chat, we see here, all right, El Cool J needs more of that umph, Rick Ross voice. If he had put a heavier kick on there, we need to feel the beat, not just hear. That's the thing, El Cool J, and that's what I've heard so far is hearing the beat and not feeling it. We need to feel it. We definitely need to feel the beat. But shout out to you, Junior. Thank you so much for your submission. Please continue to submit right here on the Heat Check. All right, moving forward, we have Red Rays with Relajado or Relajado. All right, so gonna go ahead and play this beat, mute my mic, and then go ahead and give my feedback. So let's go ahead and take a listen. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Red Rays with Relajado. Shout out to you, Red Rays, and thank you so much for submitting right here on the Heat Check. Now, Red Rays, that beat, man, melodically was good. I'm glad I wanted to feel something, man, and that the melody definitely made me feel something. So great choice on that. Sound like some type of sample, or maybe something that you play, but either way, good choice melodically. One point of feedback, I like the kick and 808 combo that you selected. I don't know if the kick is baked into that 808, but regardless, it was a very nice combination, very nice feel. The thing is, it was a little bit too loud. It's a little bit too loud in comparison to the sample and to the music. So let's pull down that kick in 808 a bit more, so it's a bit more balanced with the music. It's kind of a cool thing to have that giant contrast, but it could be a little bit too much, just a little bit too much. So let's dial that down about. Let's dial that down about, I won't say negative 1 point, let's start with negative 1.3. And then from there, you might have to take it down a little bit more, but negative 1.3 would be a good starting point. We just want to get it a little more balanced. The thing is, so when we're producing these beats, we're doing it with the intention of it getting to a recording artist. So something like that could feel and sound really impressive to other producers, but from a recording artist standpoint, they might have to reach for the volume knob up and down and up. We don't want them to do that. We want them to be able to put on their ear pods, be at the gym, be in their car, be in the studio, and then just vibe out and then write a nice song to it. So then they'll reach out to you and, purchase the beat or make a song to it and you guys eat off the back end, however you guys want to do it. So yes. Also later in the beat, when we got kind of near halfway, you added some type of sound like a low sub bass to go along with the kick and 808 combo. That wasn't really necessary. Melodically, it was off. I almost thought that maybe I accidentally hit a patch or somewhere here on my FL Studio, because it just sounded like it conflicted. It wasn't really necessary. And it felt like key-wise, note-wise, it felt like it was off, and it just didn't add anything. I feel like you really didn't need to add that, so I would just go ahead and mute that. Keep the beat as it is. If you want to do a couple little drops here and there, maybe do a couple little low-pass filter sweeps just to, add a little bit of separation between the different parts. You could do that as well. But I think really, if you take out that low bass part and also balance the kick and bass a little bit more with that sample part, just pull it down a little bit so things are more balanced, I think you'll be good to go. And I think you can find a recording artist who will want this beat. So shout out to you. Thank you so much for submitting right here on the Heat Check. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. All right. Moving forward, Red Rays with Selfish. All right. I'm going to go ahead and play this beat, mute my mic, and go ahead and give my feedback. So let's go ahead and take a listen together. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Red Rays with Selfish. All right. Shout out to you, Red Rays. Thank you so much for submitting right here on the Heat Check. Now, Red Rays, man, good beat, good approach to this beat. That beat was definitely, in my era, man. It just reminds me of that classic 2009-ish ATL sound. Even before then, you had people like Shouty Red, D Rich, Team Green. Team Green, yes, I know about you guys. Shout out to you guys. Shout out to Win, one of the first people to live stream back in the day for producers. You definitely locked in that essence of that era very well. As far as constructive criticism, one thing that really jumped out to me was like the loudness. So let's take a look at the waveform here a bit. So I don't see too much. I don't see the waveform chopped off. So it looks like you might have some headroom on your mixer whenever you have your beat. But just kind of watch it. Always remember that engineers can make the beat louder if they want to. Sometimes when things get really loud, it can mess with the high end. The high end can get a little sizzly and not too pleasing to the ears. We don't want to do that. So just kind of watch the loudness, watch your high end management. As far as those, you have the horns going, and those can be really aggressive on the ears. Just kind of keep an eye out on that. Also, another point of constructive criticism. At certain points, it felt a little bit repetitive. It felt like it was constantly high energy and with a little bit of change. And the thing is, if this is gonna be a song, then we need a little bit more movement, a little more dynamic. So one thing you may want to do is, since you are, since this is that type of beat and that classic ATL style, you might want to check out just looking at, instrumentals by people like D Rich, instrumentals by people like Shawty Red, and see how they're able to create see how they're able to create structure with their beats when they're snatching out the 808, when they're putting mute on their horns, when they're taking their pizzicato sound and, maybe putting a low pass filter on it just to make things, just play a little tricks with the ear to make things feel like it's not just one big, repetitive part or repetitive section. So there's little things you could do to trick the ears to make things feel like they're moving, highs and lows, ups and downs. And a great way to figure those things out is to listen to those songs. If you can find the instrumentals, that's definitely good, and then just put it in your back pocket. That's one thing I've definitely done. It's helped me out a lot, just listening to instrumentals and then being like, oh, that's what they did. Okay, that's why this beat seems like it doesn't have that many elements, and they're able to get through an entire song and I don't feel bored, or I don't feel like I heard one big loop. So yes. That's pretty much it, man. If you make a couple of tweaks to it, definitely can see that get into a recording artist. You might even want to hit up somebody like, let's say, Trap Boy Freddy. Trap Boy Freddy has a song out. He kind of has that classic ATL sound in a couple of his songs. So, yes. So, yeah. Hey, you might get a placement with Trap Boy Freddy, man. Hit him up on IG or something. All right, but yeah, shout out to you, Red Rays. Shout out to you, very talented producer, man. Just do a little bit of tweaking, man. We'll get you right there. All right, so we got some feedback in the comments as well. All right, you like this one? I like this one. This one hits. You feel this? I can't explain it, but when the beat hits, it hits. Yeah, man. Yep, definitely. All right, moving forward, we have Rakim with Bleeding. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and play this beat, mute my mic, and then go ahead and give my feedback. So let's go ahead and take a listen, ladies and gentlemen.
why you can't win the money, right? Because you're not worried about the fucking money. I see you the fucking money. You're supposed to go in there and do it. You ain't yourself. Put yourself with our pot. Put yourself with our pot. I don't give a fuck about
All right, now Rakim, that was something, man. You know, you named this beat "Bleeding," and it sounds like you're trying to bleed my ears, man. I'm not trying to roast. That we don't do the roasting here, but it just what was I just literally look at this is a block. I don't see like there's no space here in the waveform. It's just one big block. I don't think I've ever seen that before. This is just it's like it's not even a waveform. So Rakim, man, you definitely had a lot of potential in the beginning of the beat, the intro part. I was getting super excited. Then when it actually hit, it was just like way too much. It was just like nonstop. Did you use like sound like did you use a gunshot as hi-hats? That's what it sounds like, man. So Rakim, definitely have a lot of energy, man. So yeah, that beat was I don't know, man. So Rakim, man, I'm gonna go ahead and move forward to your next beat, Rakim, and give my feedback. The last beat was just I can't assess it. It was just loud. So let's move forward to your next beat, though. This is Rakim with JEW. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and play this beat, mute my mic, and give my feedback.
The fuck everyone and fuck that nigga named Rakim. Bitch ass nigga.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was the second submission of the day by Rakim. All right, Rakim. Now, one thing, Rakim, the biggest thing I'm hearing for you, Rakim, is headroom. You need to have some type of space in your mixer for the sounds to move. I'm hearing your 808s just get totally blasted into your mixer, and it's creating this weird, like, it's almost like the 808s like eating itself. It's like falling, it's collapsing on itself because it's just you're pushing it so hard into the mixer, and it just has nowhere to go. So it's just like beyond clipping. It's clipping and distorting. So I would say this, Rakim, when you're making your music, understand that in order for certain things to feel loud, other things need to feel quiet. In order for one thing to feel soft, something else needs to feel aggressive. So everything is just up. It almost sounds like on your mixer, you just pulled all the sounds up and everything is up and distorting. So take some time and work on just volume balancing. I want my 808 here. I want my snare here. I want my sample here. It's not just everything up and pulled up and just blasting into the red, and somehow that equals something hitting hard, something being powerful. There's a difference between power and loudness. And all I'm hearing is loudness. I'm not really hearing fullness and body. Things are so loud, they're getting aggressive and just hurting my ears. And I think you definitely do have potential as a producer. It's just like we need to. I just feel like you have bad habits, and that's causing a lot of distortion to the point that it's just a bit too much. So, but shout out to you, Rakim. Keep at it, man, Rakim. I've definitely helped a lot of producers, so definitely please continue to submit, and I'll be glad to help you out on your journey, man. This is a dojo. I'm here to help you grow. So, no judgment or anything like that, man. We're all here to grow. All right, S&W Freak. Yes, you about to submit. Free submissions are closed. Yep, free submissions are closed. If you want to skip the line, you can. However, the form for next week's show is going to open at the end of the stream. So if you hit subscribe, you're going to see my community post for next Friday's show tonight. So subscribe. I'm going to post my community post. That's when you know you can submit for free for next Friday's show. So that's how we're going to go ahead and do this. This would have been a good intro. That's what I'm saying, L Cool J. Yeah, Rakim got potential, especially with his intros. His intros got me super excited, you know? He might even want to, so yeah, Rakim, you might even want to collaborating with other producers with a similar sound is a great way to break old bad habits and get new constructive habits. So if you find another producer out there who's really good and really has your sound, definitely collab with them, man. That's going to help you out a lot. So yes, because you definitely do have a knack for intros and excitement. So moving forward, we have Bingod. All right, so we have Bingod with Telephone. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go ahead and play this beat, mute my mic, and then go ahead and give my feedback. So let's go ahead and take a listen.
Bingod, what's happening?
Walking squad.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Bingod with Telephone. So shout out to you, Bingod, and thank you so much for submitting right here on the Heat Check. Now, Bingod, that was definitely a good beat. I like those video game sounding beats when they're done well, when they're put together well, that's definitely something that will get me, man. So very, very good good choice in aesthetics for the beat. It's also another, that's a beat that would definitely stand out in the studio as well. You know, people kind of making predictable beats, and then you come with that beat. And let's say you're in the studio with a recording artist and you really start selling it and mumbling a hook, even if it's just a hook idea. I think you can get an artist to really like bob their head and look at you like, yeah, I'm seeing it, I'm feeling it, I'm feeling it. So I feel like that's that type of beat that you can take an artist who normally wouldn't record on that style of beat, and you can sell it to them. So that's just another thing that I was envisioning when I heard that track. Now, as far as constructive feedback, I was hearing this loudness thing that's going on. Is where a lot of you guys, a lot of producers are just blasting their sounds. It almost feels like everything is like up here. Like if I were to look at your sessioning, your DAW, I'm sure you got everything up all the way up here. Some things are just gonna have a lot of digital distortion. There's not really any headroom. So that's the thing I really try to get producers to do, is just be on the lookout for just letting some of your sounds just get so loud that it starts to degrade. I make the analogy, it's kind of like cooking food. You can have well-seasoned food that has good spices and everything like that. And if you cook it a little too long and it has that charredness and that crispiness, you can eat the food. It can still have the juiciness and stuff like that, good seasoning, but that charredness, you're gonna, it's like, it takes away from the actual full enjoyment of the meal. So watch that. Always remember that producers, engineers, whoever is gonna be recording the artist to your beat has the option to make it louder themselves on their side. So you don't have to blast it super loud like that. Also, at 45 seconds in this beat, there was a point where you just added like way too many sounds. It was just too much, to the point that it started to feel noisy. And I'm just picturing in my head a recording artist being like, next, I don't want that to happen to you. I don't want a recording artist to pass on a beat like this just because you had too many sounds and things got in the way. So it's a point at 45 seconds. It was just too cluttered. There was just no room for anything, rapper, singer, anything. So yeah, let's watch that. And yeah, man, if you could just work on the loudness, like let it not distort so much. Get yourself a good limiter, maybe Pro L. To get the isotope limiter. What's another good limiter? You can use even the fruity limiter. If you know how to work the limiter right. Don't just squash your beat and mess up all your sounds in a different way sonically. So yeah, this was just a couple of tips, man. But overall, good beat, and I could hear this getting placed. But specifically that point around 45 seconds, you have to mute it. It's better to have too few sounds than too many sounds, because other sounds can be added later. So yes. All right. Let's see. Appreciate it. TikTok. This is fire though. Example of the video being this beat is eating. Was that Pac-Man? Okay. Just checking out the chat. This is fire. Thanks. Oh, Bing Guy, you right here in the chat. This I saw you. Okay, Bing Guy, you right here in the chat. Appreciate it. You are welcome. Using no limiter, the trend now. Yeah, man. It's different strokes for different folks, man. Some people use no limiter. Some people use a limiter. I'm an advocate for the tasteful use of a limiter. It doesn't have to smash the dynamics. It's a nice glue to use a limiter as well. It is not gonna lie, a lot of old heads hate it. Am I an old head? Are you saying that I'm an old head SMW free? I don't know. Maybe you're saying I'm an old head. Okay, we'll start adding something. All right, you are welcome. You are welcome, Being God. Thank you so much for submitting right here on the heat check. All right, moving forward. we have Binga. All right, another submission today with Moolah. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and play this beat, mute this mic, mute my mic, and go ahead and give my feedback. So let's take a listen.
Binga, what's happening?
Walking Squad.
Rex. Rex.
Ladies and gentlemen, second submission of the night by Being God with Moolah. All right, so shout out to you, Being God, and thank you so much for submitting right here on the Heat Check. Now, Being God, one thing I can say about you, Being God, is you have a good sense of melody. You have a whole bunch of different melodies. You have chords, you have leads. You sound like you have like little pieces of maybe even like little sample pieces, not sample like sample from a record, or like cuts of audio, and you're still able to make things melodically make sense. And not everybody could do that. Sometimes when people try to do that, they'll have different sounds that are dissonant and, you know, just kind of conflicting with each other. But you have all these things going on, and at no point in the process that I hear anything clashing musically, which is definitely good. And not everybody can do that. So shout out to you on that. I'm noticing that you have a particular style. That's good. That's also going to be good to help brand yourself as a producer. So if a recording artist is in the mood for a certain style of music, you have something distinct, something that's away from the pack, that's going to help them think of you. You're gonna have a place in their mind if you continue to keep working and developing on this sound. Now, as far as constructive feedback, one thing that I'm hearing is something going on with your volume balancing. Like, I'm hearing the 808 is going really hard. It sounds like you're probably driving the 808 into the red. And I also heard you added like this 808 snare. You had this 808 snare that was like too loud in comparison to the rest of the music that you had, and it made it feel out of place. So that tells me just you need to work on just balancing your sounds and making sure that everything flows together. You know, if you have a sound that's like just feels like surprising, it's gonna push people out of the music, and we want to pull people into the music. You know, we want them to feel invited. You know, it's like walking into a house. You want to feel like, I belong here. So a way we can help that is just making sure things are balanced. And I mentioned this before. This tip is to listen to your beat at a low volume, then to turn up the volume on your audio interface, put it at a nice medium volume, nice listening volume. Things are still enjoyable. And then crank it up to a loud volume, the headbanging volume where you really feel the music. And in that process of being low, medium, normal volume, and the loud volume, you just want to listen and make sure that everything still flows and feels good at each of those steps. And if you hear anything like that snare, if you listen to your beat at the low volume, you heard that 808 snare that you added. It's kind of like a random thing, kind of like an accent. You would have heard it and said, ooh, that just felt off. It felt a little off balance. Let me pull it down a little bit. And then as you play it again at the different levels, you're going to notice everything still flows. And that's really one of the telltale signs of a good mix. Things sound good at different volume levels. So yes. All right, you're welcome. Excited them it's nice. But I would try to balance my 808s. Tend to always have them hitting hard. Okay, never tried the low volume check. I'll definitely try. Yeah, you're welcome, man. Thank you for being here, Being God. And another thing, Being God, man, this is a big thing, big gem. For me to you, man, is because I've been there before, is to check my ego at the door and to understand that there are people out there who have aspects of music production that's better than me. So even listening to other producers who, let's just say, are 2 steps above me or a step or so above me of where I'm trying to get to, and then just listening critically, like, what are they doing that I'm missing, and what do I need to work on so I could be better? So, man, if I would have did that a long time ago, man, it would have helped me out a lot. So, setting my ego to the side and listening. So, yes, it sounds kind of generic, but I'm telling you, it goes a long way. If you play your beat next to another producer who you feel like a step or 2 above you, and then you compare, like, okay, that's their beat, this is my beat. How do I bridge my sound to their level? Okay, I need to work on this. I need to work on sound selection. I need to work on my melody. You know, that's going to take you a long way. So, yes. All right. But yeah, shout out to you, Being God, and thank you so much for submitting and joining the chat right here on the Heat Check. All right. So moving forward, our next producer of the day, we have Felonious Monk. All right. This one is called What's Up? What's up? All right. We're going to go ahead and play this beat, mute my mic, and give my feedback. So let's go ahead and take a listen.
What's up?
Now sit your ass down.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Felonious Monk. Yeah, Felonious Monk with What's Up. So shout out to you, Felonious Monk. Thank you so much for submitting right here on the Heat Check. Now, Felonious Monk, man, that was creative and very interesting, man. It took me a minute to notice that you were chopping the instrumentation from the actual Martin theme song, and that's how you were making the beat. It just took me a second to catch on, but yeah, that was definitely creative. But you know, the thing is, what I was picturing with this particular beat, this definitely gives me beat battle vibes. This gives me I'm on stage and I'm trying to compete against this other producer and I'm trying to get the crowd going. So it's definitely does not feel like recording artist vibes. You had a lot of transitions there, and I could tell you're gonna keep transitioning. But yeah, this is on stage. You moving around doing the piano keys. You move, getting the crowd going. You looking at the people in the crowd. You really getting the energy going. So this is definitely a beat battle beat. So definitely I'm not hearing any type of recording artist or something like this. So yeah, points for creativity. As far as constructive criticism, it's like something was on the master or whatever DAW you're using, or you could be using like a MPC Live, whatever you're using, something in there was like capping the music. So I was talking about limiters. You might have some type of limiter on your master, and it was keeping like the drums from really breathing and really hitting me the way that they should hit me, especially for something that has this beat battle vibe. So kind of be careful with what you're having on your master fader. It's almost like cooking food and then putting a certain sauce on the food, and that sauce is taken away from like what was already there in the food. It's like you had a good meal, then you added this sauce, and it's like the feel of it is now different, even though it has the good ingredients. So we want to be careful with what we have on the master, because it could definitely mess with things. And that's what I was hearing. Something on the master fader, and I was like, I wanted the instruments to be slightly lower so the drums could be a little louder so it can hit me. And it was just something about that was off. So watch what you have on the master fader, please. Yeah, other than that, creative beat, definitely a battle beat, and can't really think of any other constructive feedback for that. I wanted it to bang. That's one of the biggest things that kind of threw me out of that beat, was I wanted it to bang. So yes. All right. Oh yeah, El Cool J. Yep. He definitely could be on the Turn My Producer Up show. So yeah, turn your producer up, guys. Hit this producer up. He might want to be on there. Okay. And Being God, let's see here in the chat. I've always tried to learn from other people. I wouldn't be where I am without it. So yeah, that's definitely a good trait, Being God. So you're going to be ahead of the curve with other producers, because some producers want to feel like they're Superman. So that's definitely a good trait. And don't know 2Bs. Guys, I have to you can't send big files, sadly, so I have to export. I'll send in a dono and send to files value. I have to re-export. Okay, I appreciate that, SMW freak. So you're gonna be submitting. So yeah, we definitely appreciate you doing the VIP. Skip the line. I think there is some type of file size limitation on the form that I'm using. You could maybe even drop your like you said, drop your beat in your DAW, then export it as like a MP3, maybe 320, the 320 rate or 256, then that should be a good file size to send things over. But yeah, I appreciate that. Moving forward, looks like we have a second submission by Felonious Monk. This one is called TOF. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and play this beat, mute my mic, and go ahead and give my feedback. So let's go ahead and take a listen. All right, Felonious man, Felonious man, you definitely war ready, man. This guy Felonious, he's war ready, man. He's ready to he's ready to get at it, man. All your beats, Felonious, that I'm hearing got a lot of energy, and it just screams stage. That's the only thing I'm hearing, man. As soon as I hear your beats, I hear somebody on stage performing, getting the crowd going, and everybody just having a good time, enjoying beats, enjoying hip hop the way it was meant to be enjoyed. So there's some real hip hop stuff you got going on, Felonious. And I could also hear, I could hear some freehand going on, just about the swing of your drums. It sounds like you're hitting pads, and I could just tell that that's you're not quantizing stuff. At least you're not quantizing a lot. I'm hearing that certain stutter that finger drummers have. People like Arab Music and Jay Black. I'm hearing that swing. So you might be using something like an MPC Live to get your sound going. So yeah, man, that's whatever it is working for you because it's allowing you to transition over to these different feels. One thing I could still say though, as far as constructive criticism, and it might be difficult because whatever studio you're at, I know that you're just blasting everything. In your audio interface, you're just cranking it up and just going crazy. But there is a little bit of harshness on that top end. It's like, with all you're doing, I just want the total impact to be felt. And I'm not quite sure what's going on the master. It's not as bad on this beat, but there's something on the master it's like, I want things to be powerful and not just loud. Does that make sense? I want things to hit people in the chest and shake the speakers because you have so much energy in the actual production and the actual composition. I don't want things to just sound somewhat small if we're playing these on big speakers, which can be challenging because you have a lot going on. But my thing is, sometimes, especially in a bigger studio, if somebody comes in with a beat that's just simple pianos and then just has this real nasty, stupid 808s that's just shaking the whole studio and everybody's making the stank face, and then you have a beat like this that has a lot of energy and a lot of elements, I don't want people to feel like, even though you have a lot going on. So we need to feel that power that's there. The power that's there has to be felt. And I think one of the big ways we're going to do that is by watching what's on the master. There's something there that we need to tweak. All right. So shout out to you, Felonious Monk. Thank you so much for submitting right here on the Heat Check. All right. Now we got a VIP skip the line. So shout out to SMW Freak for your submission tonight. So let me go ahead and get this downloaded here. All right. And as I get that downloaded, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to check out DesmondASounds.com where you can get free FL Studio Patcher plugins, free loops, free guides, everything that you need to elevate your sound as a music producer. Also have a Pro Tools cheat sheet that I created on DesmondASounds.com. Definitely going to help you guys out if you want to work in recording studios. I made that myself, so you guys go ahead and use that to help you actually get some jobs in the studio, straight from the trenches, not just some stuff I Googled. These are stuff that helped me in high pressure situations in the studio. And trust me, if you record some people in the trenches, you're gonna need to be able to get from point A to point B really quickly. So yes, indeed. All right. So let me make sure got everything labeled here correctly. So put some respect on your name. All right. Also, guys, don't forget Made in the Studio podcast coming back March 5th. Got interviews from some of the top producers in the game. Definitely dropping gems. I had an interview today and it was definitely fire. All right. So got everything pulled up here now. Ladies and gentlemen, we have SMW Freak with REGALIA type beat. Regalia type beat. Sorry, guys. All right. I'm going to go ahead and play this beat. Sorry about that. I'm going to go ahead and play this beat, mute my mic, then go ahead and give my feedback. So let's go ahead and take a listen. Ladies and gentlemen, that was SMW Freak with Regalia type beat. Looks like this one's called Emerald. So sorry about that. This one's called Emerald. So shout out to you, SMW Freak. Now, there's one thing I wanted to hear again. Give me 1 second. It's like towards the beginning. It's nothing that's too big. All right. So yes, SMW Freak. Definitely I'm liking the drum programming. Good drum programming. Good melody. The only one of the things that I'm hearing is once again the loudness thing that I talk about. It's see here, like we could just see the waveform. It's just there's really no space here. It just makes for a bit of a harsher listening experience. We just want things, we like I mentioned before, we want things to be inviting. You know, the recording artists, if they're listening to things on like little ear pods, it's easy for harsher frequencies, just the higher end based on the human ear hears higher frequencies just naturally better. It's just easier for us to perceive higher frequencies. And if we're getting that harshness, that breakiness that can happen whenever we're just letting things distort a little bit, it takes away from some of the smoothness. Like, for example, if we listen to, you know, like Gunna's last album, if you listen to the beats, like the smoothness of the top end, it's it's just silky. You know what I'm saying? So a great way to keep that silkiness is to, just kind of give stuff some breathing room, pull things down. Maybe just have a limiter there just to kind of kiss stuff. It doesn't have to be working and, see gain reduction moving up and down. It could just be used to just kiss stuff. Just do a little bit of controlling. And then if we need to, we can turn the volume up if need be. Other than that, man, also melodically, things were good. The thing I was listening towards in the very beginning was that tubular bell that you had. I thought that tubular bell that you had was going to be one of the main sounds, and it just like poked out a little bit too much. And the reason I played it back is because it's like they say, there's only one time to make, there's only one time to make a good impression, and I just see how impatient these recording artists are these days. They won't even really give a beat a chance, So the reason I played it back is just like, I wanted to put myself in the position of a recording artist. Does this feel inviting? Would I want to actually record a song to something like this? So kind of watch that tubular bell and just watch the introduction process in general. Just want things to just smoothly come in, smoothly have us want to be into the music. And sometimes we can get too close to our production, too close to the beat. We can listen to the same beat over and over again. Maybe even we set like a personal deadline. We want to have this many beats done by this time. And that can sometimes push us to just complete things really quickly. And if we take a step back from the music, take a step back from the beats, maybe take a break or come back another day or later in the day, later that evening with fresh ears. Maybe you've been listening to your favorite album. Maybe you haven't been listening to anything at all. Then you come back with fresh ears and a fresh perspective. It's easier to say, ooh, that's a little too loud. Or, ooh, let me pull that down a little bit. Or maybe I need to mute that. It's easy for us to come back with a fresh mind, fresh ears, and make some of those decisions. Because I call it being too close to the beat. If you're too close to the beat, sometimes it's hard to step back and do those tweaks. But yeah, overall, man, good beat. I could hear a lot of your skill set going on there, but just a couple things. Exactly. It's just exactly SMW Freak. Exactly. That's the thing. And the reason I talk about like the mixing and mastering stuff so much is I hear how some super simple beats could just shake the whole studio. And then another beat, which I can hear composition wise is better than this beat. I'm like, ooh, this beat has more space. This beat has more space in a stronger mix. This beat has a better composition, but it's distorting, and we're not really able to hear it in the studio. So, it's sad, but sometimes you can get beat out that way. Oh, you're welcome, SMW Freak. You're welcome, man. I try to give the game out the way I would have liked to receive games. So yeah, it's just somebody saying that ain't it, or that's trash, or try again. That don't help nothing. I try to take a, kind of a like a dojo martial artist type of professor type of position when it comes to feedback. So you are very much welcome, SMW Freak. And moving forward, we have another submission here. SMW Freak. This one is, this beat is called Unchanged. All right. We're going to go ahead and play this beat by SMW Freak. I'm going to go ahead and mute my mic and give my feedback. So let's take a listen. And gentlemen, that was SMW Freak with Unchanged. All right. Shout out to you, SMW Freak. And ladies and gentlemen, that was a VIP Skip the Lines. So it's definitely very much appreciated. All right. SMW Freak. So I'll say this, man. The first thing I'm noticing, man, is just being able to lock in melodies like that is definitely a skill. I also mentioned this about another producer previously. When you have so many different things going on, all these different synth sounds, I notice a tendency for some producers, some sounds will be dissonant and off key, and it'll create this kind of off-putting thing, but you were able to keep things melodically sound in a way that was definitely pleasing to the ear. So shout out to you on that. That's just a personal thing for me. I'm a stickler for that, for melody. I can listen to almost anything except off melodies. And yes, so just putting that out there. So SMW Freak, one other thing as far as getting constructive criticism, one thing I was hearing with that beat is just volume balancing. You had the beat going, and then you had this almost like this ARP line, and that part was just a little bit too loud in relationship to the rest of the beat. So we want to go ahead and pull that down just so things just kind of feel a bit more balanced. Things flow a bit better. It doesn't feel like something just poked out and kind of threw us off. Almost like watching a movie and then a real loud sound happens and didn't really add anything. We want to keep it nice and balanced. Another thing I was hearing in that beat was the relationship between the instrumentation and the drums. So it felt like, how do I put this? It all goes back to volume balancing, but it's like I heard the 808, I heard the instrumentation that was going on, and it just felt like I wanted a better flow and marriage between the two. I wanted the drums to flow with the instrumentation better and come together in a nice, smooth way. And it just felt like those two elements weren't flowing together properly and connecting properly. So if we can, and that once again, that's going to come down to volume balancing. And once you do that, that relationship is going to create a nice flow together. We want everything to flow and sing and complement each other. So that's another thing that I was hearing. So one thing I like to point out is trying to create some type of anchor sound or anchor sounds, so you always know where this point is in your beats. So I've pointed this out before, but I believe this is your first time here. So I'm just going to show you really quickly. I'm not going to play any audio. I'm just going to show you something here just to help you with volume balancing, because it is something that I had issues with in the beginning as well. So definitely not judging. So, all right, let me check OBS, make sure you can see my mixer. Okay, so here on my mixer, you can see here, I have this hi-hat going. It's hitting this point right here. Open it a bit more. It's hitting about 15 right here. So let me see if this is a good example. Oh no, I'm actually gonna. So we're just gonna pretend like this hi-hat is a kick. I'm just gonna name it kick because this is gonna be a better example. Okay. So let's say I have this kick going in my beat, right? If I know my kick is always at 15, or I know my kick is always at 12, that means as I go through the rest of my beat, as I go through the rest of my mix, I always know where my kick is. And I typically will use my kick and or my clap or snare as anchor points. So that way I know my instruments are gonna work around the kick and the snare. So if I have a sample, if I have a loop, if I have just a piano line that I play, I always know my kick is at around 15 and my clap or snare is right in that range. Let's just say, slightly below that or slightly above that, depending on the beat. But I know where that relationship between those two sounds are always in my beat. So that way I never get lost. So if I add the main ARP sound that you had in your beat, I know that if my kick starts to get masked and I can't quite hear it as clearly, or my snare or clap starts to get masked and I can't hear it as clearly, I know that my kick was banging when I selected it. I know my snare was banging and snapping when I selected it. So I know I need to do just a little bit of carving with my EQ, just to open up a little pocket, just a little space, so my kick can continue to kick hard and snap. And the reason for that is because you can start to chase your tail when it comes to mixing beats. You can pull your kick up a bit more, and then pull your snare up a bit more, then pull your hi-hat up a bit more, then pull your kick up a bit more, then your snare up, then your percussion a bit more, and then you're constantly chasing your tail. And as you're chasing your tail, you're taking up more headroom here in the mixer, so it's easier for you to start clipping and start distorting and start to lose some of the integrity of your sounds. So one thing I do recommend, I do this myself, is to create those anchor points. Kick, is it going to be the kick? Is it going to be the snare? Is it going to be the 808? Just have a point somewhere in your beats where you always know where it's at. I always know my kick is right here, my snare is right here, and no matter what type of beat I'm making, I constantly know if I need to scoop out. Do I need to scoop out a little bit of, do I need to scoop out a little bit of the low end on that piano or that sample I just added? Then you could ask yourself, is the kick still kicking? Then you could just, boop, just a little scoop. Okay, my kick is still hitting. The sample still feels good. I didn't lose anything. It's just light. I'm just tailoring the sounds and making sure my anchor sounds are constantly clear and clean and kicking and hitting hard. So that's a gem, man. Hopefully I didn't ramble too long on that. Let me check the chat. But yeah, that's just a big tip, man. You guys, it will keep you from chasing your tail. I've wasted a lot of time doing that, boosting, and then getting frustrated. I don't have any more headroom in my beat. And now my 808 is way up, taking all the kinds of headroom. And I was confused. I didn't know what the heck was going on. And I just got frustrated. So finally figured out what to do. So hopefully that was clear, man. S&W Freak, thank you so much for your submission. Thank you for the VIP Skip the Line. You are welcome here to continue to submit beats in the future for the Heat Check. Make sure you subscribe, because I got a lot of gems, videos on demand, my podcast, new season coming back out, and of course the Heat Check live beat review. So, and loops and FL Studio Patcher plugin. So this is definitely a great place to get a lot of value. So shout out to you, SMW Freak. All right, so checking out the chat here, we have produced by Too Smooth. Yo, bro, I got a lot of West Coast type beats. Can I send one? Of course, man. Of course. Well, just to let you know, produced by Too Smooth, free submissions are closed. So if you want to do like SMW Freak and get your submission for this week's show, then, click the VIP Skip the Line there in the chat, or there in the chat, you'll see it pinned. And if you want to wait till next week's show, next week at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you could do that as well. But make sure you subscribe, because after the live stream, I'm going to make a YouTube community post letting you know that the form is open for free submissions for next Friday's show. So I typically do that about 10 minutes after the stream ends. So, the choice is definitely yours. No pressure, but if you want to get it in, get it done, you could definitely submit that now with the VIP Skip the Line. All right, moving forward, we are at, let's see here. We did Felonious. All right, so now we need to do BOGO the Ghost. I don't know, to be honest. All right. It's all good. It's all good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have Bogo the Ghost with I Don't Know, to be honest. I'm going to go ahead and play this beat, mute my mic, and give my feedback. So let's go ahead and take a listen.
This message brought to you by the NBA.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Bogo the Ghost with I Don't Know, to be honest. All right, shout out to you, Bogo the Ghost. And thank you so much for your submission right here on the Heat Check. Now, Bogo the Ghost. Couple things with this beat here. First, if this beat is for recording artists, then that intro is just a bit too long. Recording artists have people in general have short attention spans, but recording artists have very short attention spans, especially the fact they have access to so many beats these days. You kind of need to get straight into it or have an intro that's captivating enough for them to want to stay for the actual drop. So let's cut down that intro and get to the drop a bit quicker. Also, the beat itself, I felt like it was still trying to find direction. It's like, what recording artists will we hear on this beat? You know, people have a lot of issues with the word type beat or type beats and things like that. But type beats, not only is it for, you know, search engine purposes, so certain sounds or certain beats are easier to find, but it also helps to position the beat in a certain way that kind of that lets people know that there's a certain vibe, there's a certain direction for the track, and it doesn't have to be exact. Like Old Town Road was a Future type beat. It sounds nothing like a Future type beat, but if you're going in that direction, you would run into that track. And I feel like this beat just didn't have a clear vision. So, you know, I can't preach this enough. I can't say this enough. If you are a producer, definitely rap on your stuff, sing on your stuff, and then just make sure, like, okay, who could I hear on this? And then start to emulate the person. You know, I could hear Future on this. And that could help you be like, let me go ahead and push this sound up an octave. Let me go ahead and mute this sound. Let me go ahead and switch this kick out. I can't tell you how many times I've been in that process and I've done something like that, and it helped me just create a nice musical home, musical landscape for recording artists to actually get on a beat. So don't be afraid of that. And also don't be afraid to find influences to help pull you into a musical direction. What producers inspire you? What sounds inspire you? And really listen to those people. And you're just taking little bits and pieces from them, put it in a gumbo pot, and eventually you'll start to develop your own sound. And then also for more specific constructive criticism on this beat, I would say, you know, that bass was real loud. It was unbalanced in relationship to the rest of the music. It was just a little bit too much. So you just want to pull it down, get some type of balance, so that way things just flow a bit better. So shout out to you, Bo Go the Ghost. You are definitely appreciated, and I thank you for submitting right here on the Heat Check. All right, moving forward. So we had a submission, someone named City Hive Mind. So instead of sending a actual beat, it was an FLP file. So City Hive Mind, you're definitely welcome here on the Heat Check, but please submit some type of MP3 wave, some type of audio file, so that way I can just plug it right in and we can keep the process going. You guys like me showing up consistently. It's almost been a year. I've almost missed almost no shows for this almost, coming up on a year and 3 months. 3 months we'll hit that year mark. So in order for me to do that, I need to have things organized in a systematic manner, and I can't go through the process of opening and exporting FLPs. So please, City Hive Mind, I definitely want you on the show, but let's go ahead and do the proper formatting. Thank you so much. All right, moving forward, we have JVN World with Faith. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and play this beat, mute my mic, and go ahead and give my feedback. So let's take a listen. Ladies and gentlemen, that was JVN World with Faith. So shout out to you, JVN World. Thank you so much for submitting right here on the Heat Check. Now, JVN World. Couple things here. So JVN World, I remember one show, this was probably weeks ago, well, months ago now. There was one show and you submitted a very simple beat. And I complimented you on it. And I said, man, this beat is so simple. It's so spacious. And to some of you guys, some of you producers, you might think, okay, this is a cool beat. But it was a nice, perfect palette for a recording artist to jump on top and then paint the picture, add the words, add the backgrounds, add their ad-libs, add the drops. Everything was there for the recording artist to do their thing. And it was a really simple beat. So JVN World, I mean, I'm hoping, if you recall what show that was, if you can find that, man, that's just like magic in a bottle. I want you to build off of that sound and just like master that simple sound. It can go a long way. It can go a very long way. But, you know, this beat here, I definitely, you know, hear you trying to find direction for it. One of the main things that jumped out to me was the melody. It feels like certain elements of the melody of the instruments that were going on were, you know, clashing and not flowing well musically and melodically. If you haven't, JVN World, I definitely recommend just learning some basic music theory, you know, getting yourself a MIDI board, something like this. You know, you don't have to do too much if you have space for something like that. Get a MIDI board, maybe even a slightly smaller one if you don't have too much space or wherever you're at. But just, you know, learning some basic chords, learning some, you know, some scales, and learning popular songs. You know, we have producers like, you know, Scott Storch and, you know, Chop Squad DJ, and, you know, people who could really play the piano, Zaytoven, people who could really play the piano. And with their style, they really dial back and simplify where they can actually go, you know. And with that, with learning music and music theory, it's going to help you just know what flows and know what works with what. Some people naturally just have really good ears. Some people naturally have perfect pitch. Then other people just have to put in the work, do the steps. You know, a lot of our favorites do have to put in the work to get to that point musically. Some people just naturally, once again, have perfect pitch, and it's just everything flow to them really easily. So, you know, it's all out there. It's a wide variety of different producers, but, you know, JVN World, I want you to lock in, even if you just do basic YouTube tutorials on playing the keys a little bit. It's just going to make your ears much sharper, so you can get things locked in melodically much easier. And yeah, that was really the main thing of that beat. Other than that, you know, of course, the sound selection could have been a bit better. It just felt kind of generic, didn't really have a personality, didn't have too much of an attitude. It kind of felt like it just was. And I feel like that beat that I heard from you a while ago, JVN World, it just kind of set the standard for me, for you. And, you know, I want that. I want more of that beat. So if I can find that beat, what show that was, I'll definitely let you know. I don't think I'm going to be able to find it, but if you recall it, please build off of that super simple sound. I think you got something with that. You know, that was a standout sound outside of the competition. So yeah, shout out to you, JVN World. Thank you so much for your submission, and thank you for submitting right here on the Heat Check. All right, moving forward, we have Dancing Main. Aim at the bourgeoisie. Okay, shout out to Dancing Main with this title. Dancing Main is ready to start a revolution. Okay. So let's go ahead and play this beat, mute my mic, and then go ahead and give my feedback. So let's take a listen. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Dancing Main with Amum at the Bourgeoisie. All right. Shout out to you, Dancing Main, and thank you so much for submitting right here on the Heat Check. All right. Now, Dancing Main, that was definitely the classic Dancing Main sound that I'm used to. You know, the hip hop sound, the gritty sound that, you know, I don't know how many more times I can say this, Dancing Main. You better be doing this, man. You better be reaching out to independent artists and locking in some type of EP deal, some type of deal, man. I don't know if you have an Instagram, Dancing Main. I think Instagram will probably be your best place. That's really the social media of the music industry is Instagram. So, please, Dancing Main, reach out to these different teams. You know, maybe I could hear somebody like maybe Tech Nine on a beat like that. Maybe because of the message, maybe someone like Immortal Technique. Maybe even, you know, other people. Who knows? Whatever. It could be a new independent artist, brand new artist. But, you know, something like that already has a message baked into the production. So the artist doesn't have to do too much heavy lifting. You know, it's almost like when we make beats, if you hit a sound and it just, or you click on a loop pack and you're like, oh, that's perfect. Or you play a sample and then the sample is like at the right point and it's the right chord structure and everything that you really like already as a producer. A lot of the heavy lifting was already done right there. And something like that with this type of beat is the heavy lifting is done and it's easy for someone to make a song to a beat like this. So yeah, Dancing Man, you have to be getting yourself EP project deals and things like that because you definitely have a sound. One constructive feedback, piece of constructive feedback on this beat. I feel like you could push this up like 2 beats per minute. That might sound small, but it's just gonna add an extra bop, an extra bounce to this beat that I think is gonna have someone like, you know, pulled in a bit more. Like if I could see like maybe there's like a rap group with a powerful message, almost like a Young Public Enemy or something like that. They're a South by Southwest and they want to rap to the crowd. Hey, my man, the bourgeoisie. You know what I'm saying? Something like that. That's what I'm hearing. And I think pushing it up 2 beats per minute is going to help with that bounce, with that bop, with that crowd interaction. You know, I could definitely hear a call response of an artist saying, hey, my man, the bourgeoisie. Hey, you know, they can do something like that with a beat like this. So yeah, man. Also good sub that you had there. Good 808, good bass. You used to do a lot of that distortion, the extra added distortion, and I'm glad that you took that off. So you have that nice, smooth, full-bodied bass that, you know, I knew that you could have on your production. So yes, that's definitely good. There was something that I was hearing that was a little harsh. I don't know if it might have been in the vocal sample. Let me double check here really quickly. It was a little piercing I was hearing. Let's see. But I didn't hear it when I cranked up the beat itself. So it might be in the vocal sample. Let's see. Yes, that that part. I would tell you this might be so I would just tell you this. If you have a de-esser, try to put a de-esser on that vocal part, that vocal sample. So just look, you probably have like Waves de-esser somewhere in your DAW. So use something like the Waves de-esser to kind of just tame a little bit of that. Like it sounds like probably around, there might even be like maybe like 2K and above. Just kind of, we just want to kind of control it a little bit. That ch. So those consonant sounds, you just want to kind of control that a bit so it doesn't like pierce the ears a little bit too much, or just pull the vocal sample down a little bit. But at the same time, I want people to still hear the message. So work that out. Either use a de-esser and or pull the volume down a little bit. So that's really a judgment call for you, Dancing Main, to get that exactly where it needs to be. But I'm thinking a de-esser. I think a de-esser should handle that. Honestly, personally, I would probably use a dynamic EQ, something like you guys probably have the what is the FabFilter Pro something EQ? I forgot what it is, the popular one. But then if you just have the waves stuff, they can use the Diamond EQ. What is it? FT. I forgot the name of it. Yeah, Pro Q. If you have Pro Q, you can use that as a dynamic EQ for like the consonant sounds in the hook. And then I thought it was FTX, FTRTA. Yes, F6. My bad. Sorry, guys. It's the end of the day, but fortunately, I was able to find it. So you can use something like the F6 if you have the wave stuff. This might be doing too much. I think a de-esser would be fine, but you could use something like F6 just to hit the consonant sounds a little bit, just to make it a bit smoother on the ears. So a de-esser will probably be fine, but just putting it out there in case you want to get fancy, Dancing Main. All right. So shout out to you, Dancing Main. Moving forward, looks like you got another submission of the night. We have Dancing Main with "Thank God for Drugs." All right, those are the wild Dancing Main titles, man. But hey, that's gonna help you stand out in this crowded game. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, we have Dancing Main with "Thank God for Drugs." I'm gonna go ahead and play this beat, mute my mic, and then give my feedback. So let's go ahead and take a listen. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Dancing Main with "Thank God for Drugs." All right, so shout out to you, Dancing Main. Thank you so much for submitting right here on the Heat Check. Now, Dancing Main, definitely good sample selection. We got the classic Dancing Main drums. Now, Dancing Main, with the feel of the sample, I was really getting into it in the intro, but there's something about the drum bounce on this particular beat that just felt a bit, it just didn't complement it in the way that I wanted it to. It's like, felt a little bit, it just felt too stiff, too cold, too rugged for a sample like this. Sample like this wants to be finessed. It wants to be rubbed on. It wants to be talked nicely to. It just wants to we want to have the sample, then we want to have the drums talk to it. We want to have the kick talk to it. We want to have the snare talk to it. And it felt like this was like the drums were talking at the sample instead of talking with the sample, instead of talking to the sample. You know, when you're out and you meet a lady, you know, you want to talk to something, you put your nice smooth voice on, you know, hey, how's it going? You know, my name is Desmond. How you doing today? You know, you're talking to, instead of talking at you, hey, what's going on? What's up? My name is Now you're talking at it. You know what I'm saying? So we want to smoothen it out, especially with the emotions with the sample. It just felt like I just wanted it to talk to the sample. And you could even try like a different drum bounce, especially with the kick pattern. Like listen to the sample and, you know, give me a little bit of bounce. You know, it doesn't have to be like a rugged, stiff, you know. Give me a couple like ghost kicks. You know, let's work on the bounce, work on the bop whenever we're finessing or working on a sample like this. You know what I mean? So, you know, shout out to you, Dancing Maine. Of course, always good submissions as usual. Just give them some constructive feedback, man. So shout out to you, Dancing Maine. All right, moving forward, we have PH Beats with Elevated. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and play this beat, mute my mic, and then go ahead and give my feedback. So let's go ahead and take a listen. Ladies and gentlemen, that was PH Beats with Elevated. Shout out to you, PH Beats, and thank you so much for submitting right here on the Heat Check. Now, PH Beats. Let me ask you a question, PH Beats. Sonically, when I was listening to that beat, that didn't sound like digital. That sounded like analog. Are you using some type of MPC, some type of ASR 10? Are you running it into something hardware-wise? I could just kind of tell by the dimension and the texture of the drums that this was done on some type of hardware. This wasn't in a DAW. I'm like 90% sure that I'm right about that. So let me know if I'm correct in the comments on the playback. If you're not here in the chat, but I'm definitely hearing analog on that. Now, as far as constructive feedback on the beat itself, well, let me talk about the beat first. The beat itself, definitely a good beat. Great sample chopping, great drum selection. I'm hearing someone like Dave East on a beat like that. Who else? You know, here's a tip also, guys. If there's a big artist that you want to get to, try looking at the artists around them on their label. Maybe it's a new signee, maybe it's someone who's, you know, they kind of mess around with rapping and stuff, don't always go for the top dog. Sometimes work with someone in the crew, then the top dog will sometimes hop on the song with someone in the crew. Then you can get a placement that way, and then you can work with the top dog from there. But don't always shoot for the top person. I remember back in the day, I sent some beats to someone who worked with Wiz Khalifa. I was bad at follow up. He liked some of my beats, and dang, I really wish I would have followed up, because maybe I could have a Wiz Khalifa placement if I would have been more consistent and persistent and working with the artists around the top dog. So always remember that, guys. Now, as far as constructive feedback for the beat, the thing is this beat does start to get repetitive. Some recording artists can work with that, especially like East Coast recording artists. They're able to, just kind of keep going. I think of like, Fred the Godson. I think he could, rap on something like this. Well, R.I.P. Fred the Godson. But people like that, I could hear like Benny the Butcher going nonstop on this, Dave East. But, kind of try to create some separation if you can between the hook and the verse. This definitely did have enough musical contrast between the sample chops, the two sections that were going on melodically. But just putting it out there, man. If you can break it down, break it apart a bit more, I think it'll be just a bit easier for an artist to get on it. Otherwise, it might just be like a freestyle beat. But but yeah, this other than that, no, great beat, man. So this definitely just needs a recording artist on it, and sometimes engineers will do like different drops on the beat, just to cause some separation. But thank you so much for submitting PH Beats right here on the Heat Check. Your music is definitely very much appreciated. All right, guys. So it's been a full house, very full stream, man. Definitely busy this week, man. Shout out to you guys. You guys showed up and you showed out. You came with some fire. You got some constructive criticism. You get a promotion here on my YouTube channel, man. It's nothing but value here at Desmond A Sounds right here on YouTube. So please subscribe and continue to support, because it's going to get better and better each and every week. So, guys, I'm going to open up the form for next Friday's show. I may move the Heat Check to bi-weekly because I got a lot of stuff going on now. I know you guys, as long as I show up, consistently, you guys will rock out with me. But let's go ahead and do next Friday's show. But from there, we might have to do a bi-weekly. But I will keep you guys informed. I'm not just going to disappear on you guys and show up like I'm entitled to your support. I got to earn the support from you guys. And speaking of that, guys, make sure you go to DesmondASounds.com. Get all the great stuff there for free. Also, you see some kits here on my YouTube channel. You're probably seeing it right now, or on the product tab on my YouTube main page. Definitely purchase some stuff if you want to support. I'm now activated to have super chats, and thank you. So you want to just click the super chats, just say thank you for the free game for all these months, and almost a year for the Heat Check. And yeah, if you guys want to do that, it's definitely appreciated. But yeah, won't hold you guys up too much longer. Made in the Studio podcast coming back May 5th. Catch up on the old podcast episodes right here on the channel. My name is Desmond A, and I'll see you guys next week. All right, y'all be safe out there. Peace.